Hello everybody, welcome once again. So we are in our fifth module and this is our last class for the fifth module. So in this class we are going to see what is free vibration, what is a spring mass system, what is degrees of freedom. So if you look into your syllabus, this is our last part, that is the free vibration. So listen, already in the last class, in the previous class, we have seen what is simple harmonic motion, and in this class we are going to see the remaining things. That is about the free vibration, degrees of freedom, undamped free vibrations of a spring mass system, and the effect of damping. So what is vibration now? So when a particle is being displaced by the application of external force, the body tries to come to its original or equilibrium position. As a result of this, there occurs vibration in the body. See, for example, you can imagine you are taking a string or a rubber band. So you apply an external force on the string, it vibrates. Why do these vibrates? Because external force is applied. And you can see that this vibration diminishes gradually and comes to rest. And it comes to its equilibrium position at one particular period of time. This is called vibration motion. See, already we have seen what is translational motion, what is curvilinear motion, what is rotational motion, and what is simple harmonic motion. Now this is vibration. So almost all the motions, all the real motions are vibratory motions. For example, in the traffic flow, if you see a vehicle is moving, the pavement, that is maybe bituminous pavements which you can see, this will vibrate to some extent. And when the natural disasters occur, during earthquake, the earthquake waves, that are nothing but earthquake waves are nothing but the sound waves. So these sound waves are highly random and they are vibratory motions. Similarly, when you take an echo of something, that is a vibratory motion. Same way, when you record something, there is a concept called signal processing. These signals are vibratory in motion. So you can see some examples. See, first one, this is an example of a vibratory motion, and this represents the naturally occurring disaster, earthquake. This is the accelerogram of an earthquake. That is the sound vibrations, the sound coming out as a result of the breakage of the earth's crust. So it travels along the earth's surface. It travels on the earth's surface. It travels deep below the earth's surface from the point of focus where it occurred. So from there, these sound waves travel along the surfaces, and as a result of this sound waves, the surface of the earth undergoes longitudinal, transverse motion, and they are highly random and highly vibratory. So you can see this is a signal of an accelerogram. Accelerogram is nothing but the magnitude of acceleration versus time during a earthquake, during a seismic signal. What are the types of vibration? Based on excitation, that is how it is, how the vibration is, based on excitation, that is whether the vibration is as a result of the applied force or without an applied force. So if a force is applied, the vibration is a result of a force applied, then that is called forced vibration. If it is not due to the force, then we call it as free vibration. See, both, if unless or otherwise there is a force, there will not be any vibration. But when you model a vibration, when you apply a force, there will be a vibration. And when you remove the force from the body, again it vibrates for coming to rest or for coming to its equilibrium position. That is the condition for free vibration. Forced vibration, you apply a force, the force is applied on a body, the body vibrates. Then the force is removed, again the body vibrates, and this vibration is diminishing vibration. Gradually it will come to rest. So this is the difference between forced vibration and free vibration. Now, based on the determining parameters, that is deterministic vibration or random vibration. See, this deterministic or random, you have studied in your mathematics, statistics, what is deterministic and what is random. Random means you cannot model it in a systematic manner. Deterministic means exactly you know. So it is easy to model something, or it is easy to find the solution for such problem, for such deterministic vibration. That is, see, if you are able to model a wave as sine wave or cosine wave, that is deterministic. If you cannot model it in terms of sine or cosine wave, you imagine something, it is a combination of a number of waves, then you call it as random vibration. Then based on linearity property, whether it is linear vibration or non-linear vibration. So linear vibration, the vibration or the amplitude with respect to time will be linear. Otherwise, it is non-linear. Now, based on the presence of damper, now what is the use of damper in a system? Why do you provide damper in a structure? The reason is you provide a damper in order to diminish the effect of vibration. It has a diminishing property. So damped vibration or undamped vibration. See, if any type of damper is present in your system, that is called a damped vibration. Undamped vibration, there will not be any damper. For example, see, if you take, for example, you can take the buildings. We have a substructure and superstructure, what you have studied in basic civil engineering, substructure and superstructure. Substructure is below the foundation, superstructure is above the foundation. So in between, see, this superstructure is connected with the substructure. So if you are providing some rubber bearings or some some kind of dampers, mostly we go for rubber dampers. So this, when an earthquake occurs, when an earthquake is faced by this foundation, the load transmitted by this foundation on the superstructure will be greatly diminished by the dampers you are providing between the substructure and the superstructure. That is called damped vibration. Otherwise, if dampers are not present, we call it as undamped vibration. Now, based on the direction of excitation, the direction of this vibratory motion, we call it as longitudinal vibration, transverse vibration or rotational vibration. Now, what is called the fundamental mode of vibration? The mode of vibration having the lowest natural frequency is called fundamental mode of vibration. So you know what is frequency. It is nothing but the reciprocal of the time period. So when it comes for vibratory motion, it is the reciprocal of the time period. And what is the time required, the reciprocal of the time required to complete one vibration. That is called a fundamental mode of vibration. And what is the lowest natural frequency is called a fundamental mode of vibration. And this will be helpful for you while not just while solving the problems in higher classes, especially for civil engineering students or mechanical engineering students. When they solve the problems, when they analyze the structure based on the degrees of freedom. So at this point of time, I will tell you what is degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom. Freedom means you are free. So what is the degree means? How many free numbers? That is called a degrees of freedom. How many freedom is given for you? So when you say it as degrees of freedom, you can model a structure, you can model a machine, you can model anything in this world as in numbers of degrees of freedom. So degrees of freedom, please note that I have not mentioned here. Degrees of freedom is the number of independent displacement coordinates. What do you mean by number of independent displacement coordinates? See, suppose if you have a 3-story building. This is the foundation. So first floor, top of the first floor, second floor and third floor. Now this can be modeled as 3 degrees of freedom. So this is your foundation. So this is called, this will be fixed. So after that, at this point you can have 1 degree of freedom. At this point you can have another degree of freedom. At this point you can have another degree of freedom. So if you model a 3-story building like this, it is called 3 degrees of freedom. Suppose if you are modeling the same building as only 1 degree of freedom, only at the top, you will call it as single degree of freedom. See, now what is degrees of freedom? When you model this structure, you can take the displacement at this point as x1. You can take the displacement at this point as x2, x2, and you can take the displacement at this mode as x3. So this is displacement. These x1, x2, x3 are displacement. That means your degrees of freedom are nothing but the number of independent displacement coordinates required to define a system. Now, your degrees of freedom can be single degree of freedom, multiple degrees of freedom. So, single degrees of freedom and multiple degrees of freedom and infinite degrees of freedom. So, single degree of freedom will have 1 degrees of freedom. Multiple degrees of freedom can have 2 degrees of freedom, 3 degrees of freedom, 4 degrees of freedom, like that. It can have finite number of degrees of freedom. And your infinite degrees of freedom, it will go on, never ending. In reality, all the elements, all the structures will undergo infinite degrees of freedom. But in order to find a solution, in order to model it, we bring it to some finite number of degrees of freedom. Then only we will be able to solve the problem. Now, so the vibration that is acting on a system or that comes from a system can be reduced or removed by avoiding external excitations. By avoiding, that is, you don't give an external force. so that there will not be any vibration. By using vibration transmitters, so from one object, from one part to another part, between the two parts you can provide some vibratory transmitters, or by using vibration absorbers. This is what you can see as shock absorbers in your vehicles and all. So spring mass damper or dashboard system. See, and I told you previously about the degrees of freedom. See, here it is mass m. So I told you it depends on, see, I told you it depends upon the number of independent displacement coordinates required to define a system. So when you are calling it as number of displacement coordinates, this is the displacement. See, what is this? This is called, these things are called lumped mass. Lumped mass, you call it as lumped mass. 1 lumped mass, 2 lumped mass and 3 lumped mass. And when you call it as lumped mass, see, all this mass, the mass or weight of the building at this portion is lumped at this point. Now the mass of this portion is lumped at this point, and the mass of this portion will be lumped at this point. Okay, that is the meaning of that lumped mass. See here, now for this system, you see spring mass damper system, there is a mass. You have one mass. You have one mass, so you will call it as a single degree of freedom system. So for this mass, this is your fixed end. Now this is x of t, that is displacement, direction of displacement. If this is the direction of displacement, your force will be applied in this direction. Okay, now because the force is applied in this direction, your displacement also will be in the same direction. Now because you are applying a force, external force, your body will try to resist it with the help of internal forces, and this internal force depends on the mass. If it depends on mass, you call it as inertia force, that is internal force. Then the potential energy present in the system, that is your spring force, because of the spring, because of the property of the elastic property present in the system. Then due to the presence of damper, this is called damping force. So you will have inertia force, elastic force and damping force. Elastic force is also known as restoring force, and damping force. So m is the mass. So you know force is equal to mass into acceleration. Newton's second law, force is equal to mass into acceleration. So inertia force is nothing but mass into acceleration. The force resisted by the mass. So if mass is increased, your resisting force will be increased. That was the concept behind the old structures. You can see the old structures are of heavy mass. If you see the walls, the thickness of the walls are very large when compared to these days. The reason is the mass of the building is increased. So when you place the heavy mass, the internal force resisted by the building, resisted by the system, when an external force acts on the system, will be increased. And now we study optimization. In order to optimize certain things, we reduce the mass. Gradually the inertia force is reduced. The damages are more. Simple as that. Okay. Okay. Now see, if you take any system, any man-made system, where an external force is applied, the internal force resisted will be due to the mass present in the system, due to the potential energy present in the system, and due to the dampers present in the system. Now, among these three, among the inertia force, elastic force and damping force, the maximum, that is the majority force or the maximum force corresponding for the internal resistance is due to inertia. The others are due to restoring forces, due to the elastic force, and this damping force have only a minimum effect, small effect on the structures. Now, okay, so this, see, first one is, you call it as a spring mass damper system because you have a spring. You can model the object, you can model the structure, you can model the system with the help of a spring, that is with the help of an elastic or restoring force, then a mass, the inertia force, and with the help of a damper or dashpot. That is this is called a dashpot or damper. And M is mass, K is elastic constant, and C is damping constant, coefficient of damping damping constant. Now, what is a spring mass system? So there will not be any damping. Damper is not present, so damping is not present. So you will model the system with mass and the elastic force, that is with the mass and with the help of the restoring potential energy or restoring force. Now, we know force is equal to mass into acceleration, Newton's second law. Now, this force, what you call force is equal to mass into acceleration, the force will be, this is external force. This is external force, F is external force, MA is the internal force, that is inertia force, resisted. This F is applied from outside, this MA is acting from inside the body, inertia force. What is the mass? If mass is increased, the acceleration of the body can be reduced. See, what is the meaning of this? F is equal to MA. If you have a larger mass, when a force is acting on a system, if your mass is larger, the acceleration, the vibration of the body will be reduced. That is the meaning of that. See, now we go for multi-story buildings, high-rise buildings, tall structures. All these structures are made of steel structures. Steel structures, our weight is greatly reduced. Right. So automatically when a high force acts on the system, the acceleration is more. The vibration will be more on the system. If you reduce the mass, the vibration will be more. That is the meaning of that. Now, external force is equal to internal force or reaction. So action, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Now, so action is force, the internal reaction is the inertia force. Now, when you model a structure, I told you this external force is equal to inertia force plus damping force plus restoring force. So inertia force is mass into acceleration, damping force is damping, coefficient of damping into velocity, and restoring force is coefficient of restoration or elastic constant into the displacement. Now displacement is x. You can differentiate the displacement with respect to time, you will get velocity. You can differentiate the velocity with respect to time, you will get acceleration. So the internal forces are inertia force, mass into acceleration, damping force, damping coefficient into velocity, and elastic force, elastic constant into displacement. Now, where m is the mass expressed in kilograms, c is the damping coefficient expressed in Newton second meter, and k is the stiffness expressed in Newton per meter. I told you it is an elastic constant. A proper technical term is stiffness of the spring, because this is modeled, this elastic force or the restoring force is modeled as a spring. So it is a spring constant. It is called stiffness. Stiffness is K. It is expressed as K. So stiffness, the definition of stiffness is like this. It is nothing but the force required to produce unit displacement. Stiffness is the force required to produce unit displacement. So it is force by displacement. So it is Newton per meter. So now X is the displacement. X dot is, you can differentiate the displacement dx by dt, you get the velocity. X double dot, you can, once again you can differentiate, so it is dx square by dt square, you will get the acceleration. Now what is undamped free vibration? See, this is your equation of motion. This is your equation of motion, and this is your differential equation of motion. Why you call it as differential equation of motion? Because x double dot is d square x by dt square. X dot is dx by dt and x. So this is a differential equation. So you can write it as, if a differential equation is asked, you can write f is equal to m into x double dot plus c into x dot plus kx, that is equal to m into d square x by dt square plus c into dx by dt plus k into x. Now see, we know c is the c is the damping coefficient. So if you put c is equal to 0, you get f is equal to mx double dot plus kx, because the c is equal to 0. If c is not present, that is called the undamped free vibration system. Undamped forced vibration system, because there is a force, right? You have a force. So undamped forced vibration system. Now if you put f is equal to 0, so you are applying a force, you are removing the force. You are removing the force causing the excitation. Again it will vibrate, you will have a diminishing vibration. So your f also becomes a 0. Your equation becomes m into x double dot plus k into x is equal to 0. This is called undamped free vibration system. Undamped free vibration system. Now, your undamped free vibration system, you divide the system by m. So you get x double dot plus k by m into x is equal to 0. Here, this k by m is called omega n square. K by m, okay, this k by m is omega n square. So the diminishing property, that is k, sorry, not the diminishing property, the restoring constant, elastic constant is k. This k by m is equal to omega n square, that is square of the natural frequency. If the mass is increased, see, what do you understand from this? If mass is increased, your natural frequency is reduced. Right? If mass is increased, your natural frequency is reduced. So omega n square is equal to k by n. So if mass is increased, your vibration can be reduced. So you get omega n is equal to root of k by m, and the relationship between the natural frequency and the cyclic frequency, you studied it in simple harmonic motion. So the relationship between natural frequency and the cyclic frequency is omega n is equal to 2 pi fn, where fn is equal to 1 by tn, period of oscillation. Okay, now so we get, by substituting k by m is equal to omega n square, we get x double dot plus omega n square x is equal to 0. Now we will solve two simple problems, small problems. With that we will complete our syllabus. So example 3, first two examples we have studied in simple harmonic motion. Calculate the spring constant k and natural frequency omega n for a general vibration system having weight 100 kg and it is being oscillated as 4 oscillations per second. See, so Fn is given as 4 cycles per second or 4 oscillations per second. Oscillations. You see, oscillation means it comes under harmonic, right? So it is a cycles per second. So it is Fn. F, nothing but F, your cyclic frequency, F is equal to 4 cycles per second, and the mass is given as 100 kilogram. So we know the relationship between the natural frequency, cyclic frequency, and the mass and stiffness. So omega n is equal to 2 pi Fn is equal to root of k by m. So from this relation, using these two, this relation 2 pi Fn is equal to root of k by m, we know 2 pi into Fn is 4 into root of k by m is given as 100. So from this we get the stiffness k is equal to 6436 Newton per meter. Now you apply here, what is these two, this relation omega n is equal to 2 pi Fn, you get omega n is equal to 8 pi radians per second. Next problem, a helical spring is oscillating with a time period of 2 seconds with spring constant k is equal to 100 Newton per centimeter. Identify mass and natural frequency of the system. You are asked to find the m, mass, and natural frequency omega n. So it is given as time period is 2 seconds. So Tn, time period is 2 seconds. Spring constant k is given as 100 Newton per centimeter. Now we know the relationship. So we are applying omega n is equal to 2 pi Fn. Fn is nothing but 1 by Tn. This Tn, this is Tn. Please correct it. This is Tn, 2 seconds. So you get pi radians per second, and omega n, you know, it is root of k by m. So you get pi is equal to omega n is pi. So pi is equal to root of 100 by m. You get m as mass as 1014 kilogram. So thank you students, thank you for listening, and with this our 5th module has been completed. So our syllabus is over, and some of you have requested me to explain the force concept also on the online classes. So before your university exam, I will be explaining you the force concept also. So with this, your syllabus is over. You concentrate on this, prepare on this. Once the university exam is announced, the date is announced, already we have studied the force concept, I have given you the notes. But if you need more explanations, more online classes or more online explanations, before your university examinations, I will be giving you such a presentation on the force concept also. Thank you and all the best. Thank you.